Can or I can. Top of the morning to you, governor.
I knew it. I knew you'd bring back the cock,
Whoa.
me or otherwise.
Excuse me? That's definitely the new tagline for this show.
Bring
Bringing
back
back the cock.
bringing the cock since 2023.
You know it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that microbait shit. They want the shit that pops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners, Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners.
Yum, yum.
Oscar Wieners.
Speeding.
Rolling.
Welcome to Oscar Wieners, the only show on the internet for Hollywood's biggest night.
You got it.
Is orphaned and then reclaimed by conveniently a rich family member.
Sad but true. The sad but true story.
I am your host, Twisty Sykes
Nice.
Man.
And I'm your co-host, Reginald Benvolio.
Nice.
Thanks.
No, I'm Michael. He's Ander, and this is a weekly show
We pulled a
where
fast one on
we
you.
pick a random Best Picture winner, and we try to figure out if it's Best Picture worthy. And this week we are discussing the 1969
Nice.
Best Picture winner, Oliver.
Oh, cheerio then.
I just realized I have nothing about this pulled up on. Okay, give me 1 second. All right,
Just
directed
make
by
some shit
Carol.
up.
Directed by Tinsley Tinkerton. No.
I would believe it. I would believe it in a heartbeat.
Directed by Carol Reed, who is probably most famous for directing The Third Man. It's like a famous noir movie starring.
Is this the first female director that we're covering on the show?
Orson Welles. No, it's a man.
Duped. A man named
What,
Carol?
men can't be named Carol?
No, no, it's fine. I don't know.
Who's canceled now?
How many women have been nominated or have won a Best Director? Any?
I
We got-
believe there's two. I believe it's Catherine
Okay.
Bigelow and Chloe Zhao.
What was the first one?
Catherine Bigelow. She won.
Catherine.
She
I thought you
Hurt
said
Locker.
Captain Bigelow.
Captain Phillips Bigelow. Um,
Nice.
Yeah, she won for Hurt Locker.
Okay, good for them. Need a few more in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out to Carol. We'll give it
shout
to
out to Carol.
Carol.
Yeah, so Carol Reed directed Third Man, also directed this goddamn movie, and it stars. I mean, it's the fucking story of Oliver Twist. It's. I mean, I don't know how faithful it is to the book. I assume it's probably fairly faithful-ish.
Did they sing in the book? Was the
yeah,
book a play? Or was it a novel?
the novel
So
by
what the fuck?
Charles Dickens?
Like what are we doing? Like I'll levy the same criticism that I gave to Les Miserables. Like it's an adaptation of an adaptation of an adaptation. Like why is this Best
Yeah,
Picture?
it's an adaptation of a musical based on the novel.
It's insane. Why are we doing this? Why is the Academy? Is this how they get their sick kicks? Is this how? By
I'm
pulling a
not part of
fast
the,
one on us?
You're yelling at me. I'm not part of this shit. Okay.
I'm
I
not
just
mad
talk
at
about
you,
this
but
shit.
you are in front of me right now. You're the customer service representative, and I just gotta lay into you.
Somebody cut me off in traffic, and now you're to blame for that.
You're now the recipient of my ire, and how is that fair?
This is the story of little Oliver Twist. an orphaned boy who he's kicked out of his orphanage and sort of gets into all kinds of picaresque adventures, just episodic, person to person. Uh, Ends up with Fagin, who is a
What is he?
petty pickpocket who has
What?
a murder of little boys to steal for him, which is totally normal.
He's got a. At
Um,
some point in his life, this man just acquired a warehouse of boys. He's assembled a collection of children to just pick pockets for him, and that's his business model. Except it's not, because that's where he gets like handkerchiefs from them. That's what they steal. But he has a real adult to steal actual things for him. So why are these kids here?
I
What are
was a
they
little bit
doing?
confused about Fagin and Bill Sykes' relationship because it's like,
I
let me
don't.
just let me finish this shit. So
Sure.
Fagin's
Yeah,
played by
yeah.
Ron Moody. Uh, Oliver Twist is played by Mark Lester, a cute little guy.
That boy's name is Mark Lester.
Yeah, got a
Okay.
problem with that.
Yeah, bad casting, but go on.
And along the way, they meet. Oliver meets all kinds of crazy, kooky little guys. Bill Sykes, played by Oliver Reed, who Oliver Reed played Proximo in Gladiator. He was the
Oh,
yeah.
he
So this is
looked familiar.
yeah.
He's
So he
kind
plays
of a
Bill
hottie.
Sykes, kind of a hottie,
Yeah.
kind of.
I mean, he goes psycho in the end, where you're like, ooh,
He
but
goes full psycho.
full
So
on, man.
Bill Sykes works with Fagin. They kind of scheme together, and Bill Sykes is with Nancy, played by Shani Wallace, who is sort of her allegiances. She begins as people treat Oliver bad. She begins to question her uh,
Her
participation
allegiances.
in a life of crime.
Yeah, because
Um,
she's basically
yeah.
fueling the cycle that's putting little boys in poverty. Which, how did you ever think that was a good thing? But I digress.
Ander,
Hi.
what is your relationship to Oliver Twist, to Charles Dickens, to this
Yeah.
movie?
Twist is kind of a nephew of mine. He's just a little bean boy that everybody kind of just loads, and we toss him our scraps and we say go to work in the yards and do some work in the mill. And he really means nothing to me. He is the dirt beneath my boot, so to speak. And that's basically the extent of my relationship. Dickens, I like Dickens. I'm a fan of him. I don't know who to blame for this shit. Is this on Dickens? Like, who do I talk to about this?
Definitely not on Dickens. I mean, I don't know how the book is. I haven't read it.
Maybe it
What
is
do you think?
though.
What do you think of this movie?
Well, first and foremost, the biggest issue, the biggest fattest issue is that fucking Oliver Twist he's a nothing character. He is nothing. He does not make a single choice or decision throughout the entire proceedings of the story. Not a single decision. Everything just kind of happens to him.
I
They
always
just shoehorn him place to place.
right with no, having no experience with Oliver until this movie,
Mhm.
Mr. Twist. I've
Doctor.
always thought Oliver Twist was like a little bit of a stinker who like but
Oh, like a
he really
mischievous little guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Whose mischievousness just like gets inflated when he eventually whatever happens to him, which I didn't know until this movie, but when he gets involved in actual crime, I'm like, oh, it just like inflates his bad little stinkerness. But yeah,
No.
Oliver Twist is nothing. He is a mirror. He is a shattered mirror.
He is a
Let's
sad
say.
little munchkin man.
Honestly, Mark Lester's performance isn't even bad. It's just sort of nothing.
I mean, he's not singing, right? So that's
He has
like
like
half
two
of
songs.
his shit. Yeah. Well, but it's not his voice. It's some fucking lady. The entire story is literally every single plot point is people just getting him to do stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, Oliver, go take go ask for more gruel. Okay. Oh, Oliver, you live in a funeral parlor now. Okay. Oh, Oliver, you fucking live in a warehouse of boys now. Okay. Oliver, go. You live with this rich family now. Okay. Oliver, you go. You live in this. Go meet us at the bridge at midnight. Okay. It's just he's just shoveled around. He does nothing. Like he has no agency. I feel bad for. I guess you're just supposed to feel bad for him.
I mean, Charles Dickens, I think, was very interested in social commentary. Like, I feel like a lot of his books are commenting on something that is going on in the world slash London at the time. And I think he was interested in writing about the way children sort of get abused. I mean,
Okay. I mean,
if you really want to give this movie credit, you could say Oliver's lack of agency is a symptom of a society that does not deem children as valuable at all. You could say that, but
Fine,
I don't
why
think
is
that's
his name
true.
literally the name of the movie?
This
Call
is
it
a
Fagin. I don't know.
story.
It wasn't it was hardly about him.
Yeah.
And that bothers me. But damn did they hate kids, huh? So I guess he had a point. 'Cause
Yeah.
he gets the shortest end of the stick that he possibly could have gotten.
Yeah.
Which is sad. But like kind of laughably sad. Where you're like, come on, he's going through this much shit. His mom, God rest her soul, dropped him off at a fucking warehouse that says work camp on it. Like plastered outside on the main gate.
Yeah. I think this movie stinks.
You know,
Actually,
the story.
This is my least favorite movie since Broadway Melody.
Definitely not as bad as Broadway Melody.
There's nothing inherently bad about this movie. It's like it's well made. Like the performances are all pretty solid.
Yeah.
I was literally texting during a lot of it. Like I watched it basically all of it on my phone. And you know how like when you go out of apps, you like switch out of it, it like goes to a tiny screen in the corner of your phone.
This is what's the problem with the youth of today. This is what's gone wrong.
I didn't want to look at it, you know what I mean? I just couldn't. I was like, oh, they're singing another fucking boring song where the choreography isn't like advancing anything. It's just sort of them moving around a room. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
The songs are pretty boring, I gotta say.
Songs are boring.
None of them were really memorable.
No.
Except for the fucking what's the Pick a Pocket song? But not memorable in a good way.
Exactly. You can't even remember
what's that shit?
Yeah.
Gonna pick a pocket, then they get a pocket, pick it, and then pick it in the pocket.
I like here. Okay, Shani
Who?
Wallace, who plays Nancy. I think she gives a really good performance. I think her character's actually really good too. Like I think it's interesting. I just think it's something compelling where she's trying to get out of her old life by saving Oliver Twist's life. Like I think that's something. And then she's murdered by Bill Sikes. Bill Sikes
you know what? They don't even close the door on that. Is she dead? Spoiler alert.
Well, Bill Sikes
goes off the fucking rails.
Bill Sikes goes off the rails.
So
yeah.
Can we first of all? I just have a question.
Hit me.
What is his working relationship with Fagin? Like, what is their business setup? Because Fagin slinks off in the middle of the night to meet Bill Sikes, who he claims that he reveres. Bill Sikes gives him like loads of treasure that he's robbed from rich houses. He gives him crowns, like jewels and shit. He gives him fucking jewels. And then Bill gives him like 3 nickels. No, I mean, sorry. Fagin gives Bill like 3 nickels. And Bill's like, yo, ripping me off. Like, what is he is he gonna like threatening? Is Fagin threatening to like rat him out or something? Like, why does he still help Fagin?
Never clear.
Just because he's an old man? Is it because he was his mentor once? I don't really know.
It is.
I bet you the book tells you.
Never clear. Probably does tell you. You know, Charles Dickens had a tendency to go long. Go long.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he snaps by the end, and you see it coming because the guy's just really getting shafted, huh?
His vibes are so wrong.
I mean, we should definitely be clear. He has thick mutton chops. But you think maybe he's a good guy? Because, like, I don't know. You don't necessarily think that something's off with his and Nancy's relationship like immediately, but it becomes clear pretty quickly that like, oh no, this is a bad man for her. I think there was once a good side or a starry-eyed side to Bill. Like when she's doing that song with the Artful Dodger, who's this other little munchkin kid who's like pretty charming and probably should have been the main character. They're doing a little song together, and you can kind of tell like maybe she sees something in him that she saw in Bill. Because even Fagin's like, oh, Artful Dodger's going to become like a young Bill Sykes one day if he,
does he say
plays
that?
his cards right. He says that to all the kids. He's like, if one day you might be a thing like Bill Sykes. No, Bill Sykes is fucking psycho, you know?
Yeah, get him.
But it seems like maybe Nancy has... Maybe they once had a relationship together where they were just, you know, a couple of just minor criminals, petty thieves, and they were making a living, and it was fun, and now things are more serious for reasons that are kind of unknown. I guess it's Fagin's fault, right? Because now Bill just steals big shit. Bill steals like a lot of money worth of stuff, and he can get hanged or whatever.
Yeah, you know, now we're talking about it, I think maybe because like what you're like, I think Nancy and Bill probably met each other in under Fagin's like his courting of like these children. I mean, that sounds weird, but just like gathering all these children to steal for him.
Yeah.
They probably met that way when they were kids, and now it's just like they've been together for like whatever 15 years or some shit.
Sorry, I was thinking about... I mean, as weird as it is to say, Fagin's warehouse of children is like not creepy. You know what I mean?
It really, he gets away with it.
Yeah.
He absolutely gets away with it. You're like, I trust this creepy, I trust this weird old man.
I do. It's like, oh, he just kind of, it doesn't seem like he totally like he has selfish motivations for sure, but like he doesn't seem like he wants to do harm to these children, which I guess was a relief. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, now that you're saying, because you were wondering what Fagin's relationship with Bill Sykes is and like what that setup is. I think it is like, I mean, it's now that we're talking about it, like I think probably Bill Sykes was a kid, and Fagin took him in, and Bill Sykes is just like a little bit loyal to Fagin forever because like Fagin set him up for like success or whatever.
I guess. But then don't you see like in the very end of the movie, Artful Dodger and Fagin have this whole walk off into the sunset moment.
I thought that was going to be the last shot. I'm like, we're ending on these two fuckers. This movie's called Oliver.
That was really insane.
There was like a minute left. I was like, you have to cut back to Oliver or else I'm going to riot.
Oliver gets like a 15-second epilogue, not even exaggerating, where it just shows him in his rich house now. It's like, oh yeah, Oliver he lives with that rich guy now.
Yeah, you know how
such an afterthought.
You know how Bill Sykes was like jumping with him across the roofs of London?
Yeah.
That's fine now. He's
yeah,
totally chill.
It's all good. Yeah, Nancy's dead. There's no real consequence though. It's all fine.
This movie took me out.
Took you out?
This movie took me out.
Like a sniper shot or like going out on the town?
Like Bill Sykes tackling me to the ground.
Bill Sykes, you don't want to tussle with Bill Sykes. Bill Sykes will string you up from the rafters.
Bill Sykes is the kind of guy. I mean, he's the kind of guy that will kill you if he needs to.
He's the kind of guy that will
scary
hold a
guy.
Child hostage. Yeah. I mean, how telling is it that? So he has this really loyal dog throughout the whole movie.
Bullseye.
Bullseye, which I guess is also the Target mascot dog. Confirm or deny?
Like it's the same dog?
Well, it's the same breed of dog, but also the mascot is named Bullseye, right? With the little target on his eye.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think so. So maybe inspiration from this movie. Not sure. But this dog is loyal to him throughout the whole thing, goes with him on robberies and whatnot. And then at the end, he like beats up Nancy, and then the dog just betrays. Like you know you fucked up, when your dog is no longer loyal to you. The dog rats him out. The dog sends the constable his way.
The dog barks him out.
Nice. Very good. The dog literally gets up, he puts on a little petticoat, and he says, "That's where he went, officer." He has like a little pointer finger now. That's where he went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really weird turn in the third act where Bullseye actually turns into an adult man.
Yeah. Didn't really understand
and he's
it.
like, Bill Sykes put a mystery spell on me. You're like, what?
Yeah. That was impactful. I did feel a lot of emotions from that.
Is how we're talking about this movie confusing? I'm worried about people listening to this and being like they're jumping all around.
I don't think it matters. I think just don't watch it.
No,
Look,
people
you want an
care.
order of events? I'll give you a 5-second summation.
Go for it.
Oliver's in a fucking children's work camp. That's where we start. He's with all these other children. They dare him to ask for more gruel, and the guy is pissed and sends him away to work at a funeral parlor where he leads funeral processions, and then he escapes from that, and he ends up in London, and then the Artful Dodger finds him, and he's like, "Oh, I got a fucking..." He didn't say fucking. I got a fucking place where you can sleep, mate. We got a whole bunch of us there. And then takes him to the new warehouse of children with all these other, little street toughs, and they're British and they do songs, and Fagin's there and he's like, "Oh, ta picking pockets, oh yeah." And they do that for a while, and then what the fuck happens? What happens after that? They just kind of
Oliver gets caught picking a rich man who happens to be his like distant uncle's
Yeah.
pocket and then he's wrongfully accused. There's like a whole court procession.
There's a trial.
Here's a trial. He's acquitted, and his fucking relative who he doesn't know is his relative is like, "I'm gonna make it up to you somehow. Come home with me, little boy. You're gonna be mine now." It's like,
You
what
live
the
with
fuck
me.
is this shit? Put this movie in jail.
The problem is all of the plot points serve to just funnel you into the songs, and the songs aren't that great,
No.
So what? So why am I here? That's why
I like
Oliver's. Yeah.
I like blah 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 blah. But at the end, when Nancy is trying to get Oliver away from Bill Sykes,
Yeah.
I think that song's fun because it's motivated by action and not emotion.
Yeah.
She is trying to do something in that song
Right.
that is active instead of just like. I like musicals, but musicals tend to be just like a character expressing some like big emotion and just like walking around a sound stage.
Yeah.
And I like that it's active. I think that's fun.
Does every musical have to have a song where the chorus is a nonsense word? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I feel like it's in every single one. They're like whoopity poppity deepity doopity dopado repeti dapati.
Yeah. It's like the
it's a
person who
staple.
writes the songs finds like a melody, but they're like, fuck, I don't know what to write. And it's like, fine, let's just hippity boppity boo.
Yeah, papa. Did you find it fucked up that Oliver has a secret rich family, except his mom is not, and his mom dies and has to give him away to a warehouse?
Well, his mom like ran away, they say, when she was like, I guess 18.
Why?
Maybe when she was pregnant with Oliver. It seems like she ran away when she was young. But we never know why. It's like, it's so insane how the old rich guy puts it together that Oliver's his like nephew, because he looks at a painting he has.
That's so true.
Is that supposed to be his mom?
That's Oliver's mom, yeah.
Right. So he
He's
looks
like,
at it.
"Oh,
He's
that
like,
looks like my niece." That's insane. What is he, the fucking FBI? How did he know that?
What? Fucking, he turned into a computer for a second. He's like facial recognition.
Scanning. And they don't close the loop on that at all. You don't... I mean, I guess we're led to believe that this
tells
guy's
him.
niece is... We're led to believe that this is his great uncle.
Right.
Oliver's
right.
great
Right.
uncle.
Right. I think it's funny when after he's kicked out of the orphanage, the guy who says "more," who wears
Yeah.
like a little a captain's hat.
Oh, you mean Captain Crunch?
Yeah, Captain. Yeah, when Captain Crunch is walking Oliver through the streets, he's shouting into the town, "Boy for sale! Boy for sale!" I'm like, what the fuck was 200 years ago?
Yes, the 19th century, where you can just shout "boy for sale" and everyone knows what that means.
Everybody's like, that looks fine and on the level.
Yes, an honest boy for sale.
I'm just reading some of my notes, and then when Oliver goes to, when he ends up at that like funeral parlor, he's there for like 2 seconds,
Yeah.
but he kind of like, so there's a guy who works there who is like basically taunting Oliver about his dead mother, which honestly, chill out, guy. He's like, this kid's like 6 years old. But Oliver gets like really mad and like just
Yeah.
beats the shit out of this adult.
I have in my notes, I'm like, this is a starving child. Put up a fight, for God's sakes. You are an adult man. This is
And then-
embarrassing.
And then it's funny when Captain Crunch gets there, like they go to back to the orphanage, they're like, get Captain Crunch, he'll know what to do. So he comes and he's like, did you feed him meat? He's like, he subsisted on gruel. It keeps him weak and subdued. I'm like, are you telling me this fucking kid went Super Saiyan because he had a steak? What the fuck? That's crazy.
Look, we've all been there. We've all gotten the meat sweats, had a few too many dogs at the barbecue or whatever. He just finally, Oliver had strength in him for the first time. He had protein, and he's like, I'm just gonna fucking take it out on the world now. He's pumped up with nitrates and steak juice. And he strangles that guy.
Yeah. 19th century meat was probably like crazy.
Well, there was that one point where they're like, Fagin does give to his credit, to Fagin's credit, he feeds those kids like sausages and stuff. Like he feeds them real meals. But then the one kid's like, "Is it moldy, sir?" And he's like, "Pipe down, it's still good," or something.
Yeah, he's like, my sausage is moldy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, every 5 minutes of screen time, he turns to his little secret stash that he hides in the wall and just like plays with his jewels. He's like, "Oh, these wonderful things that one day I will live to be a very old man." But he's already old.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you got to retire now. Like the clock is ticking and it's like 1865.
Yeah,
like
you should have been dead 10
modern
years
medicine is not good. It's not going to save you. You are going to die if you get like a cold. Fucking retire.
Yeah, dude. There's one point where he's like, "What will I do when I'm 70?" I'm like, "You're not already 70? You look so old."
He's
man.
actually 36. People just looked like that then.
In that case, I get it. He has to save for retirement. It makes sense. There are fun moments in this, if I can be positive for a second.
It's not the worst movie I've ever seen.
No.
I think it's fine. I don't even think it's fine. I think it's slightly less than fine, but like it's,
I think
if
the
this
story's
movie
bananas.
was half an hour shorter, I think it would be way better.
Yeah, I agree with that.
After the intermission, there's the song "Who Will Buy These Red Roses." I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's like the
That
first
song
line.
Sucks ass.
It sucks ass, and it's like 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
It's so boring. I'm like, cut this shit.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
Any final thoughts on this goddamn thing?
Yeah, I would never watch it again, but it was fine. It was honestly fine. It was just so mid. Like, it just wasn't the song. If it's a musical where the songs weren't great, and I feel like the story just fed into the loop of, "Oh, we just need to get this song in here," but the song was forgettable. All right,
I agree.
sorry.
2.5 stars.
Good dancing. A lot of good dancing, I guess.
Yeah, good dancing.
Like when they're walking down the street, and then it's just like everyone's normal except the constables are all doing like a little jig. That was
Yeah,
funny.
I think it's funny that Oliver and the Artful Dodger are like Artful Dodger's like, we have to stay away from the police, and the police come dancing, and they're like, I'm like, if a cop was dancing at me like that, I would laugh in their face.
Yeah, you can legally pants that cop.
Yeah.
That's the law.
Would you like to move on to Best Picture nominees? The other
Yes.
nominees this year.
Yes, I would.
Right off the bat, we have to talk about it. This was the year that 2001: A Space Odyssey came out.
That didn't come out in 2001?
I am
Mine?
going to wring your neck. Stanley Kubrick was nominated for Best Director.
Oh, they hate him.
You know, 2023 has been the year where I'm like, let's just call good good. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, do we already know that Steven Spielberg is the best? Sure, but like let's talk about it. He's the best.
Sure.
Let's hold him up as like he's good. Stanley Kubrick,
Yeah.
I might sound like a film bro, but Stanley Kubrick is one of the best to do
Film
it. I
bro.
don't know what you want me to tell you.
No one's making weird shit except for a select group of people.
Right.
And weird shit, like sometimes it's polarizing, but I feel like more often than not, those are the films that some people will hate, but then people will love.
Yeah.
Whereas Oliver and so many films in the pantheon of Best Picture winners are just so mid. Sick of it.
Oliver loves what? Oliver
Who?
wins Best Picture naturally.
Congrats.
Oh. Uh Also nominated for Best Picture is Funny Girl.
Funny
Ever heard of it?
Girl. Yeah, I have. There's also
Stars
that Father John Misty song, but I
Oh.
don't think it's based on
This
the
is
movie.
starring Barbara Streisand. It's the story of the life of comedian Fanny Brice from her early days in the Jewish slums of the Lower East Side to the height of her career with the Ziegfeld Follies, including her marriage to and eventual divorce from her second husband, Nick Arnstein. This movie actually sounds pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, no,
I'd-
it sounds. I would watch it. Sure.
I'd watch that. Next up is The Lion in
King.
Winter.
Oh, what's that?
Oh God, it's some like Henry II shit.
Henry the Second.
Yeah, Henry II and his estranged queen battle over the choice of an heir. That sounds so boring.
Mm,
So next up is Rachel Rachel.
Rachel. What?
It is Paul Newman's directorial debut.
Okay.
Rachel is a 35-year-old school teacher who has no man in her life and lives with her mother. When a man from the big city returns and asks her out, she begins to have to make decisions about her life and where she wants it to go. That's such a late 60s ass movie where it's like, oh yeah, here a character is just sort of existing. And the final one is I remember watching this in high school. Franco Zeffirelli's adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. It is the one, I don't know if this happened to you, but I remember the actress who plays Juliet, Olivia Hussey, believe it or not.
Really?
She shows a nipple in that movie, and I remember our teacher
Whoa.
jumping in front of the screen and like moving her hand to
Oh.
block the nipple.
Actually, you know what? I think I was in the advanced class. I think they let us see the nipple. Stay in school, kids. That's what grades will get you.
If you do good, you get nip.
If you do good, you get nip. Son, I saw you brought home a nip on your report card. Nice job.
Those are the nominees. Kind of a weird Best Picture year.
Wait, 2001: A Space Odyssey was nominated or was not?
Was not. I mean,
Not even in there.
Kubrick was nominated for director. He won a special visual effects award, but no, wasn't even nominated.
That's
Best
so
Picture.
weird. How do you get nominated for Best Director, but yet your movie was not in the contention for Best Picture?
Well, it
Did they just
happens
not
now.
get it?
It happens now because you can do up to 10 Best Picture nominees, but you can only do 5 Best Director nominees. So it's like you kind of have to pick and choose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you pick something over Oliver? I'd pick all of the above over Oliver.
I mean, out of the Best Picture winners, I
Yeah.
would much rather watch Rachel Rachel or even Romeo and Juliet. But like, I mean, 2001 is like obviously peak, but it wasn't nominated, so it doesn't really even matter ultimately. None of this actually, I hate to do this to you.
What?
None of this matters.
Whoa. Honestly, kind of a relief.
Yeah, it really is.
Thank goodness.
Do you think Oliver's Best Picture worthy?
No, I don't think it's a movie. I don't think it's even a movie. So,
You ain't kidding. Do you have any reviews?
yeah, you want to hear what? Now we're gonna hear what the people had to say.
I
Mhm.
looked at some of the Letterboxd reviews and I noticed genuinely all around very positive from what I
Well,
could see. Okay.
give me a name for an irate bird.
Hawk.
Just hawk?
Oh, like a name. An
Yeah.
irate bird?
Yeah. What about Ethan
Russell
Hawke?
Crowe.
Oh, okay,
Ethan
very
Hawke.
good.
No,
Yeah.
Ethan Hawke is better.
Ethan Hawke says, 1.5 stars. Please, sir, may I have some less?
Yes.
Bravo, Ethan. Very good. Very good. But it's all for naught because actually the real Pun of the Year award goes to give me a name for somebody who's going into space this evening.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise says 1.5 stars. Oliver? I barely know her.
Nice.
And to that I applaud. That I do
good.
applaud. Yeah, there were. I think it's kind of polarizing. Some people were like, "Oh, this is so much fun," and some people were like, "This is just
Nothing. This is nothing.
This is like getting the flu to me." You know. So, someone wrote, "I wish Oliver had been hit by that train and done us all a favor."
I mean, Oliver Innocent. I don't think he's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the rest of the movie wouldn't have happened, so I get that, but I don't think he deserved to perish.
Yeah.
So,
Anything else you want to say? Any hot takes you want to throw out about Oliver or anything in general?
anything in general?
Yeah. Do you hate like bologna sandwiches?
I do hate bologna sandwiches. I used to hate when kids would get them at lunchtime in elementary school and they would just chew and it makes like such a sloshing sound. It's like, and it just,
Yeah.
I would want to vomit. And now they still kind of had that lingering effect where even in adulthood, I'm like,
Yeah, that's fair.
wet lunch meat, pass. And
What's
that's a cold take.
what's a dry lunch meat you really love?
A dry? You know what? Turkey is a little drier.
Yeah, turkey.
I
is
like a
little bit
dry turkey. I really don't like cold cuts. I like hot food. Give me a hot sandwich.
Yeah,
Like a PB&J.
I basically agree.
Yeah,
Wait, what?
you heard me.
A PB&J is a hot sandwich.
Yeah,
You're
just a
eating a
hot-
PB&J panini.
Yeah, hot PB, a
It's-
PB, a PB&E.
Do you toast your bread when you make a PB&J?
No, but I think if I did, it would be really good.
See, people do it, and I think it's wrong.
Really?
I to me, PB&J is almost like a dessert sandwich, and I'm like,
Kind
don't
of, yeah.
don't turn my dessert into like an Italian sub. You know what I mean? Like, don't make it crispy.
I do, yeah. You know what though? Like, I would rather have it crispy than room temperature. I think like refrigerated, kind of cold, is good because it's got kind of that desserty texture. It's kind of like cakey almost. And then toasted is good, and then room temperature is kind of just meh.
Sometimes the jelly would like soak through the bread and kind of create like this like sort of dark stain on the bread.
Really
And I
appealing.
feel like I remember saying to you like, look at that. That's the best shit. And you were like, that's disgusting. Because I love when it's like so seeping through.
No, your
And it's
bread
not
needs
cold.
more structure.
It's sort
then.
of room temperature. Room temperature will do that to you.
It's
Cold
oversaturated.
keeps everything keeps the texture consistent.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
don't know.
what I like.
I like a soppy guy.
Nah, I don't like that wet bread. Get that out, you know?
Get that out of me.
Get that out of me. Doctor! Nurse! There's wet bread in me. Yep, that's all I got.
All right. Next week we're going to talk about 1999 Best Picture winner Shakespeare in Love.
Oh. Do they kiss?
Oh, they kiss. Directed by John Madden.
What? By who?
John Madden? You know, the football guy.
For real?
Bet you didn't know that he directed Shakespeare in Love.
I gotta ask Madden about this.
John Madden. Ever heard of him?
Oh my god, that man has the most scrunched up face I've ever seen.
Yeah, because he's British. They all look like that.
Wow.
We will see you next week.
Cool.
See ya, Wieners.
Adios.
1, 2, 3, 4. These boys only want the best stuff. They want the cream of the crop. They don't want none of that Michael Bay shit. They want the shit that bops. Oscar bait, black and white. Maybe something French. If it's got more than one explosion, honey, put that shit on the bench. Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners. These boys are the Oscar Wieners. Oscar Wieners.
Actually, at the end of this episode, I brought Oliver down from 2.5 stars to 2 stars.
While we were
Talking about it, I was like,
talking?
actually, fuck this movie. Half a star, knock that shit off.